up, potty people, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be reviewing and doing a wear test and demo with a brand spanking new foundation. You can't even find this in stores yet. This is the Maybelline Dream Radiant Liquid Hydrating Foundation. So to my knowledge, you can only find this on the Amazon website. I actually did find it on the CVS website, but it's cheaper on Amazon, so I'll just go there. But I think it's so funny because this was available for like pre-sale order for like 2 months or more. And I'm seeing all these drugstore makeup products coming out that they're doing their pre-sale orders on Amazon. Like, what happened to just putting out the new display in the store? Like, it makes no sense to me why they're making it exclusive, like pre-sale orders. I don't know. It's kind of corny because it's a drugstore makeup, but it's whatever. I got my hands on it. But it's just supposed to be a hydrating, radiant foundation, so it's perfect for the winter time. I have normal combination, acne-prone skin, and I'll be getting into the details and the descriptions and all that stuff in the actual video. So if you guys like foundation reviews like this, make sure you get a thumbs up to let me know that you want to see more. And also make sure you subscribe to my channel and join my family. I'd love to have you guys stick around. And please turn that bell on because I don't want you to miss out my uploads, and it's very important to do that. So without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty guys, so we're gonna go and get started. And my tree is back with us again this year, so she's gonna be gracing our presence. I was kind of late to put her up, not gonna lie. I kind of did bad about it. I've had my tree up since like middle of November, but I just put her up a couple of nights ago, so shame on me, but she is with us. So it says medium radiant coverage, lightweight, formulated with hyaluronic acid and collagen, moisturizes skin and gives a natural look, delivers up to 12 hours of hydration, comes in 20 different shades, and provides a smooth and even looking skin. It does say it's going to be better for normal to dry skin, so if you're oily skin, you know, be leery. It's hydrating, it's supposed to be lightweight, doesn't clog pores, dermatologist tested, which means absolutely nothing. The swatches are very off. So the first one that I got was nude because I'm kind of in between my summer shade and going into my winter shade where I'm more pale. And to me, that one looked like it would be like a nice yellowish golden olivey kind of undertone, but I got it in and this is so dark. It does not work for me at all. But I went back and I actually just ordered this and I got it in yesterday. This is the shade Vanilla, and Vanilla is like the third lightest shade, and I do not consider myself to be a super pale skin tone right now. It looks so light in the swatch, not only on the arm but also, like, you know, in the description. So yeah, I would definitely recommend waiting until you can actually see the shades in person, but I think this is going to work for me. It may be a little bit light. So yeah, you get 1 ounce of product in here, and it does come with a really nice pump, so I'm really glad that Maybelline's finally stepping it up a notch and listening to our feedback. The pump is very easy to control, so you don't have to do a full pump. Like, it's one of those that is customizable to where you could do a little tiny squeeze, you could do a little dollop, you could do a whole lot. Here's what I have to cover up right now. I do have acne prone skin, obviously, and typically I like pretty good coverage. Like, I like it doesn't have to be full coverage right off the bat, but I typically like a foundation that is buildable to where I can get a full enough coverage to where it makes me feel confident about my skin, because my skin is just 50 shades of fudged up right now. But I do have like normal oily skin right now. Like, my skin is actually fairly normal. I'm not super oily like I was back in the summertime. So on one side I'm gonna use a sponge, on the other side I'm gonna use a brush. This is my favorite foundation brush right now. This is the Duo Fiber Large Stippling Brush by Beauty Junkies on Amazon. I'll link it below if you guys are interested. And then I'm gonna use my e.l.f. sponge, which I haven't used, but it feels very similar to the Real Techniques one, so we're gonna use that today. So here's what Vanilla looks like, and there's also what the texture looks like. So it's slightly thick. Like, whenever you think of a hydrating foundation with hyaluronic acid, you would think it would be more runny. So I'm gonna lay it down on the areas where I'm gonna need more coverage, just so it can start kind of soaking up that pigment. So I have been testing this foundation out for about a week now, off and on. Also, I forgot to mention that I didn't prime. I just applied my moisturizer, so there's no addition to the longevity here. So yeah, it looked pretty light when I first laid it down, but as I started blending it, it just meshes right with my skin. Here's what one layer looks like. So it definitely didn't cover up and give me full coverage in the areas where I needed it, like, you know, in these blemishes right here. But keep in mind, it says it's going to be a medium coverage. It doesn't claim to be a full coverage. So I do want to test out the buildability of it, like how it layers. You know, does it get cakey? Does it actually build to full coverage? I can already tell you that it doesn't. It just kind of evened everything out. It does have a very natural finish. It doesn't look overly dewy. It's definitely not matte. It spreads out really well, blends out really well. I'm gonna let this dry just for a second though, because with foundation consistencies like this, like, if you want to try to build up the coverage, it's better to let it dry a little bit and get more tacky, because if it's too wet, then I just find that the second layer just kind of moves everything underneath. Like, it just kind of disrupts the first layer. So whenever you let that first layer dry a little bit, the pigmentation builds a lot better. So just a little quick tip. Okay, so I've sat here for a few minutes, went and wet my sponge and all that. So I'm gonna go in with my second layer, and once again I'm gonna lay it on the places where I need more coverage, so on my blemishes. And then on this layer I'm gonna focus more on stippling. I'm not gonna spread it out as much. As far as the smell goes, just in case you're wondering, I don't really smell anything. All right, so there are 2 full layers, and I definitely didn't get full coverage. I don't think this is gonna be one that you can get full coverage out of. I think the buck stops at like a medium coverage, but as you can see, I definitely did cover up a lot more. You can still see some of my blemishes, some of my redness right here. But I will say something that's kind of tripping me up a little bit is how it's setting down, because most hydrating foundations that are supposed to be a radiant finish wouldn't set down at all. Like, they would stay very tacky, but this is actually setting to be like, it's setting pretty well. Like, it's not setting to be transfer resistant or anything. Like, whenever I touch it, fingerprints get left behind. It's a very natural skin-like finish, so kind of shocked. So I'm gonna move on to my other side with my sponge, and this e.l.f. sponge got so big. Like, look how, oh, it's so big. So there's one layer with the sponge, and that blended out really fast, and honestly I didn't get much less coverage than what I got with the brush, because usually with the brush you get better coverage faster, but it's actually pretty comparable to the brush. So again, very light coverage. There's still a lot of spottage that you can see, so I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm gonna go in and layer it. I'm gonna lay it down in the places where I need more pigment. Yeah, there's 2 layers. Once again, medium coverage. It looks about the same as the brush, to be honest. I'm actually gonna go in with a sponge on this side, like just to bounce over those areas where I'm seeing some dry texture, just to make sure it's sitting properly, because it's looking a little, and I'll get up close in just a second, but it's looking a little patchy around my nose area. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you our time because I am running a little late. So it's 12:38 right now, but just so it's easier to remember, I'm gonna say 12:40 for our check-in time. Alrighty guys, I'm back to the rest of my face, and if you're wondering what I'm wearing, I'll have it all linked below in the description box, so you can check down there. So yeah, the foundation looks really, really nice now. Honestly, a lot of the issues I was seeing prior to applying setting spray and setting powder and all that stuff, I'm not really seeing now, but it's just not sitting perfectly on my nose, like right around here. I don't know if it's just like underlying oil where it's just not meshing very well with the foundation, but it just looks kind of patchy and powdery and kind of settled. Like, it's not wanting to sit and like lay down seamlessly, if that makes any sense. And also it kind of seems like it's emphasizing some dry textures that weren't as obvious before. Like, I've got a little dry spot right there I didn't see before foundation. I got a little dry scabbage area right there. It's kind of emphasizing that, but it's not major. And honestly, I feel like it's because I didn't apply serum today, because I've really been trying to make it a point to apply serum as my skin prep, and for some reason, like, I applied my toner, I wiped everything down, and then I jumped straight into my moisturizer today, and I was just like, what am I missing? Like, what did I not do? I'm forgetting something. And it was serum. So maybe that has a bigger role to play in the way this wears more than I thought. I'm not really sure. But yeah, overall, everything looks really, really good right now. It looks very flawless and very smooth. It's definitely a more natural finish. This is the type of medium coverage where it's full enough to where I feel good about it. Like, I just feel like it's one of those coverages where, you know, once you have everything done, like once you have your powder on and your bronzer and all that stuff, like everything as a whole just kind of camouflages and distracts the eye from blemishes and stuff that are left behind. Like, it just looks very natural. It doesn't look masky. It feels extremely lightweight. It's very, very comfortable. It feels like I have nothing on. Like, even though I have powders and, you know, cream products and powder cheek products and all that stuff, the foundation itself is making everything feel very, very lightweight and very thin on the skin. So that's a huge plus. But yeah, our check-in time was 12:40, so I will see you guys at our final check-in to conclude my thoughts. Alrighty guys, so I'm back for our final check-in of the night. It is now 8:15. Our check-in time was 12:40, so almost 8 hours. Not quite, but I don't see much more happening from now till 8:40. So I think we're good. But as you can see, longevity is definitely there, and it's very surprising considering it's a hydrating foundation. Here's what we're looking like after almost 8 hours, and as you can see, very little fading. It looks pretty dang fresh. Even my cheek products, like my cheek products held up so well. I mean, there is a little bit of fade off, a little bit of splotchiness, but honestly, like, I had my hand on my face like this, like laying on the couch, so that's gonna disrupt the foundation a little bit, but even then, it doesn't look that bad. And I forgot to mention that whenever I'm doing product testing like this, I don't do touch-ups. I don't go back in with powders and, you know, blot. I don't go back in with my sponges or my brushes and, you know, touch up anything. Like, I literally apply my makeup one time and I leave it alone. Like, I don't assist it whatsoever. So what you see is what you get. And obviously I am looking a little bit more gleamy. Like obviously my oils are starting to peek through a little bit, but it's doing it in a very natural skin-like way. Like it doesn't look too shiny or too like overly dewy in certain areas. Like it just looks very even, and it feels extremely lightweight. Like honestly, this is one of those foundations that whenever I wear it, I'm not constantly thinking about it. There are some foundations that just feel so heavy and thick. It feels very suffocating and very smothering, but this one just feels very skin-like and very, I was gonna say soft, just very thin, and it's not something where I'm constantly thinking about taking my makeup off, which is very rare for me. And even the places that I mentioned earlier where it kind of seemed like the foundation was kind of enhancing drier textures on my face, it's not even that bad anymore. Like it's not even that noticeable. I feel like the foundation is kind of mixed and meshed with the oils in my skin, and it just made it look a lot more seamless and just a lot more smooth. There is a little bit of creasing, just very, very minor, into my little 11 marks right here. Sometimes I get that with certain foundations because I'm very expressional. But it didn't settle into any lines. It's not settling into lines. Like sometimes I get settling like right around here in my smile lines. It didn't do that, so that's awesome. And honestly, I don't even think I would have the problems that I had today with like the weird nose thing and like the, you know, enhancing of the dry textures on my face. I don't think I would even see that if I just applied my serum and kind of added some hydration in there to my skin prep. Now I will say, as far as the finish goes, whenever I touch certain areas of my face, and I did set pretty much all my face, but there are certain areas where it does feel slightly tacky. Like it does feel like the foundation or like my oils kind of broke through the powder a little bit. I probably won't be able to wear it in the summertime. Like this is probably going to be my winter, drier, more normal skin kind of foundation. But yeah, the only people I would see this not being good for is someone that is super, super oily, or someone that has a lot to cover up and they look for full coverage, because this will not give you that. But yeah, what are y'all's thoughts? If you guys have tried this foundation, please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. What's your skin type? How does it wear on you? Just all the deets. Like give us your review in the comments below, because your review is just as important as mine. So if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel, turn that bell on, and I will see you guys in my next one. Mwah.